Some of the world's most influential voices say AI and robotics will make work optional. Machines do the jobs, income becomes universal. At the same time, governments and institutions argue the opposite. AI will change tasks, not eliminate jobs. Net job loss will be negligible. Both sides sound confident, but how do you decide who is right? Right now, leaders are making decisions with almost no visibility into what actually drives job disruption. Hi, today I want to talk about how I believe AI is going to impact the job markets here in 2026. So I think on the one hand, you hear a lot of people talking about like all jobs will be gone in a couple of years. And then you look at a lot of the reports and forecasts from governments saying that very, very little will actually happen in the next 5 to 10 years. So who is actually right? And I think it's important to look at some of the numbers that will actually impact this. I believe that there are two numbers that are really important to follow. I call them the efficiency metrics of AI. So it is how many hours of work can AI output with one prompt. So we're talking about like a detailed prompt that might take you 15 to 20 minutes to create. So it could be something like a business report that you need, and you will use deep research to get the result. But you have to engineer exactly what you're looking for. And the other parameter that's really important is the error rate. So how much do you actually need to correct after you've gotten the result from AI? And I think if you look at this graph here, you can see why AI didn't really matter in 2024 and much of 2025, and why using AI skillfully will matter much more in 2026 and onward. So basically in 2024, making this prompt, AI would work for you. It would create the report, but maybe it would be able autonomously to create 1 hour of work, something like that at least. By 2025 or the end of 2025, that number is about 5 hours of work. Even more importantly, the error rate has decreased from around 30 to 40% in 2024 till around 15% at the end of 2025. And it will continue to decrease, maybe to around 5% by the end of this year. And why does this matter? If AI in 2024, could do a little more than 1 hour of work, it can now do maybe 5 hours of work. By the end of this year, it could maybe do like half a week's or even 1 week of work in one prompt, right? And the error rate is falling. So we are going from a situation that if you're skilled with AI, then in 2024, you might spend the same amount of time crafting the prompt and then correcting the output than you would if you did it from scratch, right? But then at the end of 2026, you can actually in maybe just 1 or 2 hours of concentrated work with AI, you can create 20 to 40 hours of work. Let's dig a little deeper into what actually limits AI productivity, because it's not prompting, it's correction. For a lot of people today, AI hasn't saved time. In some cases, it's actually taken longer than just doing the work from scratch. And the reason is simple. AI can generate a lot of output very quickly, but humans still feel responsible for checking it. So you end up reading more than you would have written yourself. That's the efficiency killer. In the early phase of AI adoption, output grows faster than trust, explaining why correction time spikes before it falls. But this is where things start to change. In 2026, advanced users are no longer treating AI as a single tool. They're turning it into a workflow. Here's what that looks like in practice. One model, for example, ChatGPT, generates the first draft. It's good at structure, long-form writing, and following complex instructions. A second model, like Gemini, checks factual claims. It looks for things that need sources, things that are unclear, and things that might simply be wrong. A third model, such as Claude or Grok, plays the role of critic. It looks for weak reasoning, hidden assumptions, and conclusions that don't quite follow from the analysis. The output then goes back to the original model to be revised. Only after that does a human step in. And this is the key point. The human no longer reviews everything. They review summaries, flagged sections, and high-risk assumptions. This changes how correction scales. Instead of correction time growing linearly with output, it becomes bounded. Even if the AI produces 3 or 4 times more work, the human review time stays roughly the same. That's not because the AI is perfect, it's because machines are now checking machines before humans get involved. This is already possible today, it's not easy, and it's not plug and play. It requires workflow tools, clear prompts, and some technical maturity. But advanced teams are already doing this, and once a workflow like this exists, it tends to get simplified. Over time, more of these steps collapse into a single system. The AI generates, critiques, revises, and flags uncertainty on its own. Humans move into a supervisory role. Looking ahead to 2027 or 2028, it's plausible that most correction happens inside one model, with humans only reviewing exceptions. At that point, the real constraint is no longer error rate. It's whether organizations are willing to let machines check machines. That decision matters far more for productivity and jobs than any headline about AI intelligence. And that really matters, right? If you look at what type of value a skilled person using AI in a job like as a business analyst, for example, would be able to do compared to one who's resisting AI, we are now starting to see the major difference, right? Because you can turn 1 hour into 20 hours. So that's 20x amplification of what you're doing. The error rate is also interesting because it gives a lot more opportunity for AI automation, right? There will be tasks where you can maybe live with an error rate of 5%, or you can even mitigate it to be much lower by like making a specialized GPT. So it also means that you would dare to automate a lot more tasks where some error margin is still acceptable because humans also make an error. But you can see where this is going, right? So in 2026, if this is what we can do with AI, what about 2030, right? Could we do 300 hours of work with one prompt with an error rate of 1 or 2%? Well, it's not unlikely, right? So what does this mean? It means a major comeback to the word disruption, because people who are not using AI will be disrupted big time in 2026, but even more so in the following years to come. So I think these are 2 key numbers that I am going to follow, and I think, of course, but as we see error rates approaching 0, and as we see AI being able to create reports that would have taken weeks or even months to create with just a few prompts, we are entering a world of disruption. So how are we going to experience this disruption? So I think it's definitely going to be at 2 levels. So at company level, I think there'll be a lot of companies being slow or resisting this, and they will be disrupted by companies who are embracing the AI opportunities. I also think we're going to see people either rejecting AI or being slow at implementing it and not really getting the full value or the efficiencies out of AI. And then we'll see some employees that are very, very good at getting the full value out of AI. And that will simply mean that some people, their value will decline very quickly in the workplace until they are unemployable. And other people, their value will skyrocket, and there will be a ton of competition for them. So I think that difference between the inequality will definitely skyrocket at this point. So what can you do? Well, as a company and as a person, I think experimentation is super important. But I think if you look forward, that experimentation has actually leveled you up and given you knowledge on how AI can make you much more effective. So I think that effect will compound. So if you're late to the game, I think it is really time to start understanding how you can leverage AI in your work. And if you're owning a company or you're a leader, it is definitely time to step up. Even if you experiment the first year and you don't provide value, and return on investment, it will still be super important in the years to come that you have started the process.